God says, they didn't see your value. They didn't understand what you brought into their life. They didn't recognize your effort, your loyalty, your presence. God says they overlooked you. They took you for granted. They assumed you would always be there, always giving, always understanding, always showing up. But God says they didn't realize your value. Not then, but they will. God says sometimes people only understand value after it is no longer easily available, after things change, after distance is created, after your energy is no longer the same. God says your absence will teach them what your presence meant. God says you were consistent, you were genuine, you were real, and that is rare. God says not everyone carries that kind of energy. People stop noticing it. They get comfortable. They get used to it. God says comfort creates blindness. It makes people forget what they have until they feel the difference. God says you have changed, not in a negative way, but in a necessary way. You stopped overgiving. You stopped over-explaining. You stopped chasing. God says that shift was important because now people are starting to feel it. The silence, the distance, the difference in your energy. God says, and that's when realization begins. That's when they start thinking about what they had, about how you treated them, about how you showed up. God says they will remember the way you cared, the way you listened, the way you supported. God says they will compare it to what they have now, and they will see the difference. God says your value becomes clear in contrast. God says do not go back to prove anything. Do not try to remind them. Do not try to convince them, because real realization comes naturally. God says let them see it on their own. Let them feel it. Let them understand it without your explanation. God says your job is not to prove your worth. Your job is to protect your value. God says you have learned. You have grown. You now understand where to invest your energy, where to give your time, where to place your attention. God says that awareness is power. God says when they realize your value, you will be different, stronger, more aware, more selective. God says you will no longer accept what you once tolerated. You will no longer settle for less than you deserve. God says that is growth. God says their realization is not your responsibility. It is their lesson. God says your responsibility is to move forward, to keep growing, to keep becoming better. God says you did your part. You showed up. You gave your energy. You were real. God says now it is time to focus on yourself, because the right people will not overlook your value. They will recognize it, respect it, appreciate it. God says do not wait. Walk in it. Live in it. Know it. Because your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see it. God says they will realize your value, but by then, you will already know it. Type Amen if you know your worth.